Hi everyone, in this video I will be showing you how I made my Iyalooja outfit and the bonus Sisilooja outfit. You'd have to watch till the end to see Sisilooja, okay? Let me know what you think in the comment section about this looks and about this video. Okay, you're not going to forgive me because I did say that I was going to show my sewing process and my thinking process for the dress, but then I started it late last night and I just was too tired to try to figure out like my camera angles, but I was just not tired enough to try and figure out what I wanted to make. So I'm gonna try and remember some of the steps that I took yesterday and just like react it for you guys. I hope you don't mind. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing was the dress, and mind you, this fabric's already cut out. Okay, because I'm reenacting. So the first thing I had to do was figure out how I'm by the dress. I mean the wrapper part of the dress. So the first thing I needed to figure out was how much fabric I needed to cut out. So this was originally 6 yards of fabric. So the way that the wrapper is traditionally tied is very simple. It just goes like this and it goes like this and then it's tucked in. This is just the traditional way of doing the wrapper. But you can see like I have a lot of fabric left. And so I wanted to make sure that the amount of fabric I had, I didn't want to have fabric that's going to wrap to the back because this is going to be backless. And so like if this is covering the back, what's the point of it being backless? So the first step was figuring out, okay, how much fabric do I need for my tie? Maybe somewhere around here. I don't know what yardage that was. I didn't bother, but I just know I'm cutting it somewhere around here. Now the other thing too is, as you can see, this fabric has different like prints, and so I wanted to figure out what part of the fabric that I wanted to be in the front. So I kind of had to play around with it and figure out which parts of it I wanted to be in the front and make sure I cut it that way. And so I already cut out the fabric and this is it. Now I did mark which part was the top and the front, but I cannot tell you that I remember right now. But when I'm making it, I will remember. And so this is the fabric I already cut out. And so this is how much I have. And there's a little bit of extra because I was thinking about like, you know, just the seam allowances and things. And so I'm thinking, at first I was just going to make it like this and then just add a rope tie here and a rope tie here and just kind of wrap it to the back and wrap to the front. But now I'm thinking like, should I make a band? Like I'm thinking like, do I just make a band and I just put a band all the way around the top and it just kind of becomes that? So it gives it like more of like a modern, slightly modern edge than just like adding ties here and adding ties here. That's the more traditional way of doing it. So I'm gonna see how I'm feeling. Okay, so that's it for the dress. The next thing, and that's the wrapper. That's the Iro part, okay? So the next thing is the buba part. It's gonna be a cropped buba, so it's just like a cropped top. And the idea is for it to be long sleeve and for the sleeve to kind of drape a little bit. Like the inspiration is like those like Asian kimonos, and I'm gonna figure out what country is from, yo. Please don't judge me. That have like those big long sleeves and they put their hands like this. That's the idea. So I've made a buba before, so I just used the knowledge that I've already had before. So that was simple. And so what I did was that I measured myself. Let me go get my tape roll. Okay, so I got my tape roll, and so like I know that the wrapper is going to tie somewhere around here. And actually, when I was figuring out what length I wanted for the Iro, I did actually take the wrapper and tie it around my chest like this. And then I was like, okay, so measuring from like the shoulder, I want it to fall above the wrapper. So whatever this length is, I ended up at actually 7 because I was just thinking like every time I measure myself, I'm always off. So also considering seam allowance, ended up at 7. Now this is my fabric. As you can see, the fabric has like finished scallop ends. This is lace. I call this like grandma lace. It's very much like old school lace. And see, I'm trying to make old school lace look Gen Z, but you see that it has finished ends, and the finished ends are beautiful. They are very much scalloped, unlike the finished ends of this fabric. Ankara fabric usually has words on the finished ends. This is femme de valeur, woman of value. That's me. Okay, I know a little French, a little French. Okay, so I wanted this to be the bottom of my buba. So now normally people don't make cropped bubas or super cropped bubas. Normally bubas are like regular lengths. You know, they go a little past your a little around your hip, so you can tie the wrapper over it. And so usually the way that the buba is made, and let me fix the angle of my camera so you guys can see the floor. So usually the way the buba is made, right? So this is my finished end, and this is cropped because you guys know I already cut out of this. So usually what I would do is that, okay, this is my bottom, right? So this other side would also have had, let me see, okay, this other side would also have been a finished end, but I've cut it out. So let's assume that this is a finished end. So I would have folded it down like this so that the finished ends, folded it into half this way, so the finished ends and the finished ends will be on the same length. And then I would have cut out a neck here. This is like the very simple, traditional, old school way of making a top, okay? So I would have then folded this. So this is now, right, my neck to my hip of the buba. Then I would have folded it this way again so that I could cut out a neck, right? So if you fold it into half, that way you make sure that the both sides of the neck are the same length. So I'd have cut it like this, and then I would have had a U neck, right? Now, because this was no longer, was a full length of 45 inches, and I only need 7 inches, I couldn't do it that way, you know. So I actually had to measure out my 7 inches from the bottom and actually cut out my top. So that means instead of having the shoulder already automatically joined on fold, I'm actually going to have to stitch it. So that's what I discovered. Now, I've actually never made a buba like that before because I've never had to, because I've never made one from lace, number one, and number two, I've only made regular length buba. So what I then did was I measured 7 inches and I cut out 2 pieces of this. I can't find the other piece. I wanted to show you guys, but I can't find the other piece. But then I ended up using safety pins and pinning it together. And then when I wore it, okay, I know this is the ghetto way of doing this, so y'all forgive me. But when I wore it, right, I was like, okay, the front looks really good. Look at that. But the back is too high. I don't like that. The back is too high. So I was like, okay, the back is too high. So then what I did was, I had to go find my ruler. So then what I did was look at myself in the mirror, and then I took this ruler and I put it at the top of the back. And then I was like, okay, I want the back to fall around here. And then I took that measurement, and it was about 7 inches. So I was like, okay, so I need to go recut a second piece of back that's about 14 inches. And so, where was my 14 inches, yo? I have a lot of pieces here, okay? Because this is a show and tell. So that this is my 14 pieces of back. So this is my 14 pieces of back. So now I have my back and I have my front piece. And so I had to cut this separately. And for the width of the neck, I used about 3 inches. I made sure that there were 3 inches on both sides. But for the front, I wanted the front to be lower. So the front was maybe 3.5. And the back is, I think, what was it, 2 inches or so? Let's look. Maybe 2.5. Yeah. I had to, I started out with a 1.5. Can y'all imagine I started out the back with a 1.5? Can you imagine that? And then I was like, I kept on putting it over my neck. Oh, I want you guys to see my face. Sorry, it's too high. Oh my god. Yo, camera angles is definitely not my I'm learning, okay? Y'all forgive me. So I put it over my neck, and I could not get it through my neck. So I kept on cutting it a little bit more. And then I ended up with a 2.5. And this is probably the length that gets over my neck. And so I also know that by the time I sew the neck around, it's going to end up folding in or out. I don't know how you could say this. So I'm going to actually be left with a bit more space. So it's I'm not going to worry about the fact that it barely just fits over my neck. And so in this process, because I'm doing this by myself, I didn't watch any YouTube tutorials of this. This is my own design. I'm sure, again, no ideas are original. So I'm sure that somebody else has made something like this. Pause. But I'm not about to go around the interwebs and try to find if somebody has made something like I made and see how they did it. Who has time for that? Not me. So I was doing a lot of cut and pin and try, because I was like, I don't want to sew it and then it doesn't look good. That's a waste of time. right? So do I push this forward or do I push this back? I'm trying to figure out where you guys can see what I'm doing on the floor. Okay, I just push myself back. Okay, so like now with the right side spacing, so now that I have my front piece that's 7 inches and my back piece that's 14 inches long, now both of them are 22 inches wide because I just measured like, and this is a measurement I've already used for a previous Iro, so I didn't actually have to remeasure myself. But you know, if I take my measurements around here, it's about 34 divided by 217. I added 5 inches because I want this to be loose, right? Like I don't want this to be tight, I want it to be loose and free. So I ended up with 22 inches on one side, so my total circumference is like 44 inches, if that makes sense. So basically I took 34 plus 10, so whatever was my measurement from my back to above my chest, that's about 34. I just added 10 to it so it can be loose. Okay, so now I have my safety pin. So I wanted to try this on to see if this actually works because I have never made a super crop top from scratch before. Now I have made one from cutting a top into a super crop top. I've done that, but never from scratch before. So I wanted to try this on. You could also use, I didn't want to use pins because pins are not very stable. And the times where I've pinned, you know, an outfit together and I tried it on, those pins hook me, okay? I've been pricked too many times with them pins. So I was like, let me just use a safety pin because I know a safety pin will actually stay locked in. I don't have to worry about being pricked by it when I try it on. So what I did was then I just pinned it because I was like, okay, let's see if this is actually going to work before I go stitch it. So I'm pinning it at the shoulders. And one thing I've seen the girlies on YouTube do sometimes when they make dresses and the shoulders open is that they'll cut like a shoulder slope. So they'll cut this a little bit diagonal because your shoulder slopes down. So they'll cut this diagonal so this can also slope down. But honestly, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to do it this way. And we're going to see what happens. Maybe I should, but this is how I'm going to do it. We'll see. We'll see. So I just added some safety pins at the top, and then I'm just gonna try it on. I did it haphazardly. Okay, do better than me. So you see, it went pretty easily over my head, right? So this is what it looks like right now. So let me get up. Ooh. Okay. So getting up, so you can see this is what it looks like right now. This is the front, and you can see this is the back. So I was like, okay, so the lengths are clearly different. How do I make sure that these join together? Because I'm going to need to add sleeves to it. And this front and this back need to join together. And so one of the things I learned in sewing class was how to force your fabric to join when they're not made exactly to join. Especially when you have like a skirt, usually the front piece of your skirt will be slimmer than the back piece of your skirt because you have to account for the bum in the back. So I was like, yes, let's force this to fit. So I was just like, okay, safety pin. And then I take this, literally, and I pull it. I pull it and drag it until the ends, like, you know, join together cleanly, evenly. And then I pinned it down to hold it. I was like, okay, let's see if this method is going to work because I need it to work. Okay. Now, you guys, this is not a tutorial, okay? This is me showing you how I'm making my designs. There might be a much more technical way of doing this. You know, somebody's probably made a sewing pattern that works perfectly, but I told you guys, I don't like making sewing patterns. Like, sewing for me is a craft. I just want to look at the fabric, cut the pieces out, and stitch it together. I'm not going for technical processes. Okay. And thankfully, I'm not trying to be a tailor, so I'm only sewing for myself. So if it's not wearable, it's not wearable. So at first, I was nervous because I was like, oh shit, that this might not look good. Excuse my language. But then when I painted, I was like, wait a minute, like, look at that. Does it not work? It works, right? Like, because I was scared that this was gonna move to the front, and then you see where my stitch is. I thought, okay, it's gonna be in the front, it's not gonna look good. But once I pinned it, the fabric just adjusted itself. And you can see that the shoulder seam stays at the shoulder This does this little ruffly thing. This joins together. It makes a nice back. I mean, yes. Yes. I got so excited. So I was like, okay, good, good, good. Now the next thing is the sleeve. So I was like, okay, let me see if I can actually take this off. Because if I can't take it off, that's going to be a problem. Oh, I've done something wrong right there. But yesterday I could take it off. So ignore something. Oh, it's the pin. I didn't pin it properly. Okay, so taking it off. We're going back to the floor. Back to the floor. Okay. So I was like, okay, so the next thing is the sleeves. So I do know how to make a buba sleeve, thankfully. Oh, I want you guys to see my face. So you don't feel like you're talking. At least me don't like whatever that is. Okay, move this closer to me. Okay, so the next thing was the sleeves. So how did I do the sleeves? So I have everything still pinned. So that's pointing to the wrong side. Now this is where I had to do some math and some thinking. I already decided I'm going to stitch my shoulders together with a half seam. So that's the idea there, with a half seam. And so what I did actually was I actually ended up unstitching. I unstitched the sleeves and the shoulders from each other. Okay, and then what I did was that I know that this is 14, right? And I know that this is 7, right? So 14 plus 7 is what? 21, right? And so I was like, okay, so the sleeves definitely has to be at least 21. Now knowing that this is going to be reduced by half an inch seam, so that's fine. But the sleeves also have to join themselves to each other. So I was like, okay, that's another half an inch that needs to be taken away from the sleeve opening. And so, oh, that was the other thing I forgot. Yes, so these also have to join together, right? So it's joined together at the shoulders and at the bottom. So I was like, okay, if I do half an inch here and I do half an inch here, this my 21 is going to become 20, right? Because it's going to take no, sorry. This is why I really had to think about the math, and this is exactly what I was doing. Okay, so we're taking half an inch from this part, half an inch from this part, half an inch from here, and half an inch from here. So actually taking away 2 inches total. This is 21. 21 minus 2 is what? 19. So I was like, okay, so my sleeve definitely has to be 19, but the sleeves also have to join together at a half an inch seam. So the sleeves have to be 20. And so I was like, okay, the sleeve width has to be 20. And I had my book. Let me find my book. Because I was like, I might forget all of this morning. I didn't want to forget. So I have my book. So I said the sleeve width. Oh, actually, I have 21 here. Oh, I made it 21 because I made the sleeves a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, y'all, just forget everything I just said. This is my tutorial. Okay, so what I ended up doing was that I did measure this from here to here, right? And it wasn't actually an exact 14. Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't an exact 14. It was more like a 13 point. I said 13.25. I said 13 1/4. And then I did this one too. So that was a 13 1/4. And I did this one too. And it was like a 6 1/4. So that gives you 13 plus 6 is what? 19. So that gives you 19.5, right? But like I said, we're going to remove 2 inches because of the seam allowance. So minus 2, you end up with 17.5, right? So 17.5 needs to be like my sleeve width. But then I have to also consider the half an inch for, so this is my sleeve opening. So then you take 17.5, but you have to add 8.5 for the seam allowance. So we need our sleeve width to be 18 inches. Math, okay? If you didn't do well in math and you want to be a tailor, you better go back to school. I learned some math, okay? So actually, I think I made some sort of a mistake last night. Again, I was half asleep, but I was so excited I could not go to bed. So let me actually measure this. Okay, I don't want to do all of that right now. So basically then what I did was I took my fabric scraps. Okay, this is my top. Okay, so it was not fabric scraps, it was actually a full fabric. And like I said, I want the sleeves to be like to be straight here, but I want them to fall this way. And I've already made a sleeve like this when I made my Valentine outfit. Go check it out. And basically all I had to do was cut it kind of like a trapezoid. Is that what that shape is? It's like straight here and it goes like that. And so to do that, all you have to do is fold your fabric on the bias. So I just took my fabric. Oh, and this is where another set of math came in. Because I took my fabric, I folded it on bias, so we're just pretending here that this is folding on bias just means you're folding it into like a triangular, so you can see that this is straight and this is like diagonal. And then I had to think, okay, so the opening of my sleeve is 18, so 18 divided by 2 is what? 9. So then I have to come in here and I have to measure. Oh wait, this is why this is not a tutorial. This is not a tutorial. Don't be following me. I beg, go. I beg. Now I beg. I used to beg you. Don't follow me. So I just measured the sleeve opening, right, as 19.5, right? So I took out -2. Okay, no, that's correct. Because I took it out -2. Okay, so yes, 18 divided by 2 is equal to 9. So then what I had to do was now was, okay, let me find 9 here, right? Because I think about 9. So I found 9 at the top around here. I just kept on moving the ruler up until I found 9 or down. So okay, right here is 9. So I marked down, because this is lace fabric, it's like shifts so easily. So I actually used pins. So where my pins at? Where my pins at? There we go. So I actually found my pins. And I just used the pins to mark it, because I was like, if I tried to use a chalk, every time I was trying to use a chalk, the chalk just kept on moving. So I used my pins to mark it where my 9 was. And then I was like, okay. Oh, that was the other thing I forgot to do, yo. I forgot. Okay, so then I had to take my top, right? So this is the top that I already pinned together, put it back on. Because I was like trying to figure out what the length of my sleeve was. At first I just did this. And when I did this, I got like maybe about a 24. But I was like, knowing that this buba is wider than, it's not gonna start exactly at my shoulder, right? Because it's a buba and it's wider than my actual body. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. But I just put it back on. Okay, there we go. Okay. I am not a teacher. So I put it back on, and then I took my measuring tape and I just did it from where the sleeves connect, right? And then I just basically pulled it to try to figure out how long I wanted it to be, right? And I had to think about the seam allowance that's going to join it to here. Now, for the bottom, I'm not talking about seam allowance because I'm going to make the bottom the scalloped ends, right? So the seam allowance here. And so I did that. But like I said, the sleeve is going to drape, right? So I had to measure where it's going to fall on top and then where it's going to fall at the bottom. So I just used like the end of my finger for the bottom, right? And so when I did that, I said, okay, my sleeve is going to be 23 here and going to be 29 where it drapes. And so, measuring tape. So from where I measured my 9 width, I'm going to take here. So this is the straight part, right? This is the straight part. The part that's on fold, right, is the straight part. So I just measured, what did I say, 22? This is why you have to write, because otherwise you just lose yourself. So 23. So I did 23. I marked it with my pin. And then on this side is going to be my drapey side. I marked 29. So I marked 29 on this side. Can you guys see that? And then I just cut it from the 29 up onto the 23. And that's how I got my sleeves. So let me remove this pin. Now, because like I said last night, I was excited, but I was also sleepy. I fucked it up. Okay. I need to stop cursing on this channel, y'all. Please forgive me. Please, though. But because I was half asleep, I forgot that I wanted the bottom of my sleeve to be scalloped. And I just cut it mistakenly on this without the scalloped end. So then what I ended up doing is that I was like, okay, I cut it mistakenly, but it's fine. That's why I buy my fabrics from Team. Why did buy this fabrics from Team? Doesn't make it super cheap, but I found the cheapest ones I could find because I know I'm gonna make mistakes because I'm not a professional, right? So I was like, okay, I already cut it by mistake. It's whatever. I'll use it as my test, right? So then I was like, okay, let me pin these sleeves to my top, and let's see what it looks like because I just did some random measurements. And I was like looking at it, I was like, this is going to be very wide because I did actually measure the bottom around here. I actually did measure the bottom here before I cut it. I actually did measure the bottom and I was like, okay, the bottom is going to be about 26, 52. And I just did this. I was like, okay, how wide is that going to be? I was like, oh, that's going to be very wide. Like, is that going to be too wide? I don't know. I was like, okay, let me just pin it to my body and let's just see, right? Because that's the only way we're going to know. And so the way I'm going to end up sewing this is that the open part, I'm going to join it to the armpit, if that makes any sense. So going back here, actually, going back here, damn, laces gonna hook. This is gonna try and embarrass you, I told you. Okay, so the folded part is gonna be the shoulder, and so I'm just gonna take this, right, and I'm gonna take this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to give me like a sense. Pin all of these together, so it's gonna give me like a sense of what it is that I am doing. And then I'm gonna fold this. I need more pins. I did grab all the pins I could find, all the safety pins I could find. So I don't know if there's like another sewing tool that people use for things like this, but safety pins are cheap, you know. And I already had safety pins in my house, a whole box of them. So I just safety pinned it because there's no point in sewing it if I don't know if it's going to work, you know. Let me go grab the rest of my safety pins. All right, it's out here actually. Okay. And I feel like I have more than these. I don't know if I misplaced it or if they just all poured out, but now I'm just yapping, y'all. I'm not even a yapper. I don't know why I've been yapping on social media. You know what it is, y'all? I talk to myself. That's what it is. I don't be yapping to people in real life, but I do be talking to myself a lot. And so when I put the camera on, instead of talking to myself, I'm just talking to you guys. You know, and I guess it's the consequences of living by yourself. You just become a crazy person. But I do feel like I have ghosts in my apartment. And so when I talk to myself, I feel like I'm actually just talking to the ghosts. You know what I mean? Anybody else feel like they have ghosts in their apartment? Is it just me? And I'll be talking to the ghosts. You know, when because I live in an old apartment building, and so there's just a lot of noises. Like, it's just, the sink makes noise, the pipe makes noise, the floorboard makes noise. It's just noise, 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 noise. Everything makes noise. And so I just be like, ghosts, are you moving around in the apartment? Y'all know I don't like to be scared, ghosts. Oh, yo, the amount of times I prick myself. If you have a fear of needles, sewing is not a hobby for you. I promise you, it's not the right hobby, because the amount of times I have pricked myself. But on the other side, though, it will help you overcome your fear, because now I'm no longer scared of syringes. When I go to the doctor and I get my blood drawn, I just feel like a badass. You know, I feel very much like a badass. Okay, this is not going to be perfect, but it's just to give us an idea of ouch. I pricked myself real good. So I'm ooh, that's actually bleeding, y'all. That is bleeding. That's actually bleeding. Yeah, sewing is a hazardous job, and I prick myself constantly. And the thing is, I've never been a careful person with my hands anyway. That's why my hands are never done. If you just see my nails and they look ratchet. Even before I started sewing, my nails were ratchet. So it's not even because I'm sewing. I cannot even use that excuse that, oh, because I sew, that's why my nails are ratchet. No, girly. My nails have always been ratchet. I guess it was just in preparation for my newfound sewing hobby. Because I use my hands very roughly. Like, I feel like getting my nails done feels like putting my hands in prison, because I use my hands a lot in life. Just in life. I love and having to not use my hands the way I want because of nails is gonna annoy me. You know what I mean? It's gonna annoy me. So that's why my nails are forever ratchet. Okay. So basically I pin the sleeve together, not perfectly, and then I put on my top. I feel like I had more pins yesterday because I definitely pinned this close yesterday. But we're just gonna hold on to it. So let me get up and show you guys what this is. Okay, this is real blog style, because I'm not gonna go ahead and edit all of this, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I am a beginner YouTuber, so maybe you guys will forgive me. Oh, there we go. Okay, this was not the best job. I did a better job last night. I did a better job last night. Okay. So, but you get the idea. So I pinned it together and I was like, okay, let me see. Like, how does this look? Is this too big? And I was like, okay, I can't see it properly. So then I took my wrapper and I tied my wrapper around my chest. Okay. And I was like, okay, this is kind of looking good. What do you guys think? I mean, I was like, you know what? This sleeve's cool, but I was like, you know what? It gives what I wanted it to give. I'm like, konnichiwa. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I think this is a good starting point. Worst case scenario, I'll have to go in after I make everything together and reduce the sleeve length. But I did want the sleeve to be big and glorious because you know what I mean? The bigger the better. I'm not from Texas, okay, but the bigger the better. I'm African. And I might be a slimmer African, but my slimness is genetics. Got nothing to do with my life at all. It's just genetics. But in Nigeria, the bigger, the better. The more you have, the bigger you are, the more rich and opulent you look or you seem. So I was like, the sleeve's gotta be big so I look rich and opulent. Okay, so after I figured that my sleeves were okay, I was like, until I put the whole together, I will not know for sure. And that's the thing about designing your own clothes is that, at least for me as a beginner, it's trial and error. And someone who has been sewing for a while will probably understand like the measurements a bit better, but me, I don't. So it's gonna be a trial and an error. So after I figured out that the sleeves were okay, then I had to go back to my fabric, and then I did not fold the fabric on bias. Ooh, let's go back like this. I am so sorry, you guys. Forgive me. I know this is not very professional, but you know what? We're all friends here. We're all friends, Okay, so I came back to my fabric, right? And I did not fold it on bias. I just folded it regular on the grain line or whatever you want to call it. But making sure that my scalloped ends, touch each other, right? So folded it regularly. Okay, so I folded it regularly, making sure that my scalloped ends touch each other. Just straight on grain line, no bias here. And then I took my sleeves. I undid the sleeves, of course, and then I just placed it on, making sure that the fold part was on the fold part, right? And that the bottom was on the bottom, it was straight. And then I just cut out my sleeves with the scallop ends. And so I ended up with my sleeve. So that's my sleeve with the scallop ends. And that's my other sleeve with the scallop ends. And so those are all my pieces. I have my two sleeves, and I have my front piece and my back piece. Now for the neckline, I have that strip. I don't know what you call those strips. That's what I'm gonna use for the neckline. So that's that. And then I can go ahead and stitch it, which I think I'm gonna go do actually. I think I'm gonna go stitch this first before I start on the dress. So that was all you guys missed from all of my deliberations last night. See, you didn't miss too much. You did not miss too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and stitch the cropped buba, the super cropped buba, and then I'm gonna come back and try it on for you guys. We're gonna see what it looks like, and if it looks decent, I'll go ahead and make my backless wrapper. See you soon. With my right sides facing each other, you can see that I stitched the front to the back with a 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides, and then the bottom of the top the front side and the back side, I also stitched together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I stitched it about an inch long right from the bottom on both sides. So next thing I'm going to do now is attach my sleeves. So I think that I might have messed up the calculations a little bit for the sleeves. So I'm just going to recalculate again just to make sure that I am doing the right thing. So now that I've stitched it, now I know the exact amount that I need for my sleeve, like the armhole. So I'm just going to measure it around. That's the plan right now. So I keep losing my tape roll. Okay. So from here where it opens, if I measure that around all the way to where it closes, I have about a 17.75, 17 inches and 3/4. So now I'm going to take my sleeve. So this is my sleeve. So I need 17 inch plus 3/4 plus whatever is the seam allowance here, right? So I'm just gonna do that. Measure it. So you can see I definitely have a lot more than I'm supposed to have. I have about 21 3/4. So I need to remove 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I need to remove 4 inches, but I still need to add my seam allowance. So I need to remove 3.5 inches from this because I miscalculated by a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold this back in half. Right, I need to move 3.5. So I'll just take 3.5 divided by 2. So you see with this folded together, 3.5 divided by 2, I will just cut it out of this. And then I will stitch this open side of my sleeves. So I have stitched the sleeves at the opening. I did cut out the excess and I have stitched it. It's not perfect, but you know what? It is what it is. So now I'm going to attach the sleeve to my super cropped buba. So what I'm going to do, at least the one trick I learned is that, okay, so you have to again make sure that you're looking at the wrong side, but you want your sleeve to be on the right side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the opening of the sleeve, you can see it's on the right side. This is the opening where it's going to connect to the sleeve inside here. And then I like to pin my seam to my seam at the armpit, and I'm just going to pin it around, and then I'm going to use the sleeve of my machine, or the, what do you call them, the arm of the machine, and that's how I'm going to pretty much just sew it around. So that's the plan. And we're also sewing this with a 2.5-inch seam allowance. I said 2.5. That's y'all. It's late. Okay, it is. Alexa, what is the time?
It's 9:03 p.m.
Okay, yes, it is late. So my brain is falling asleep. It's not very good idea to do this while my brain is falling asleep. But we're sewing this with a 1/2-inch seam allowance. So I'm doing the same seam allowance I've already done. It's always good to start from the armpit because then if you have any extra fabric left, you could just like squeeze it into the armpit. And because it's in the armpit, like it's not going to be obvious, you know, that it's not perfect. Because I know I don't sew perfectly for one. So, but thankfully this one was actually sort of perfect. That rarely ever happens that mine is perfect all around. So that was very lucky. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this to the sleeve of the arm of the machine. Just going to put it inside here. I'm just going to stitch. I like to start from the armpit. Again, just in case the stitch is ugly, you know, because I'm not good yet at straight stitching, and sometimes my back, oh my god, I'll find it later. Sometimes my back stitch is not very clean, so it's always good to start from like the hidden parts, you know. So there we go. I'm just gonna stitch that all around. This is why it's better for me to be doing my pins from the sides like that. But I'm so used to doing this, I always forget that I side stitch because this method is no longer sustainable. Okay. This is my first time sewing lace, and this lace has like studs. I don't even know if I'm supposed to like machine sew this because the lace has studs. And I had one of the needles hit the stud. I thought the needle was gonna break. The needle hit one of the studs, and I thought it was gonna break for real, but it did not break. So I was trying to find information on what kind of needle one is supposed to use for lace, but the Singer website did not have instruction. Oh, that is correct. Okay, they don't have instruction. So we're just using the regular medium weight needle that I use for all of my sewing projects because I'm not advanced yet. Okay. Make sure I do not. Sometimes I end up like stitching the wrong thing into the wrong thing. So just making sure of that. Okay, so this is my end. So make sure you don't stitch over this, otherwise it's gonna mess you up. So that's when I go slowly and I back stitch slowly. Okay, that's done. So let me look at this side. So you see I missed a couple inches here. No surprise there. So I'm just gonna go back and do that because I was trying not to stitch over this. So now that I can see it properly, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna start from there and just stitch forward and then stitch it back. There we go. Okay, and that is it stitched. So I'm just gonna do it to the right side, and you can see stitched. Sometimes there's like a hole. This one is not so bad. I can like hand stitch that close, but so far so good. It looks really good. So I'm gonna go to the other side, and then the top will be done, y'all, because this has all scalloped ends. I use, and this is one thing I like about lace, y'all, and you guys should look at me because I'm here. Look at me when I talk to you. Yes, and because this has like scalloped ends, the good news is that I don't have to actually go in and hem. I just take advantage of the scalloped hem, you know, because if I was sewing a regular top, I would still have to go in and hem this and hem the sleeves. But oh, actually I lied, I'm not done. I was wishing I was done. Okay, after that the top is mostly done, pretty much like 90% done. After I do the second sleeve, the only thing that's left is, where's my neckline, y'all? I'm looking for the neckline. Like the sleeves of this is bigger than the the sleeves is bigger than the actual body. Have you ever? So after that is done, the only thing that's left is actually like the neckline. So you can see the neckline is still raw. So I have like, what do they call them? A bias strip? Is that what it's called? So I'm gonna use a bias strip to do the neckline, and I'll come and show you guys how I'm doing it when I'm ready. Okay, break for now. Okay, so the top is stitched. I haven't done the neckline yet, of course, and the seams are still, of course, open on the inside. So I'll do that later. But before I do that, if I do the neck and if I do the finished seam, I usually like to make sure that it actually works, because there have been times where I finished the seam and I tried on the outfit and then I realized that something did not fit correctly and that was a disaster. So this is the top. This is the top. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Oh my God. You see what I was talking about? Do you see what I was talking about, making mistakes? The sleeve, I stitched it on the wrong side. I'll fix that later. But this is basically the sleeves. It looks very unimpressive right now, but I hope that with the wrapper, Like this is one of those things where it's like I'm making my own design. Like this is my own design that was in my head. And sometimes you have things in your head and it doesn't like show up on the fabric the way it's in your head, and it doesn't look good, and you just spend all that time dreaming about a design that was a waste of time. So I'm like, okay, this is my test. It's cute. It's cute. Let's just finish the outfit and see what happens. Because right now it's hard to believe that this is gonna look like anything good. Okay, I'm feeling like a bird with wings. So let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go fix my sleeve, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I'm doing the neckline with the bias strip. Regardless of however this turns, I'm gonna finish it because it was my idea. So I'm going to finish it. Regardless, even if it comes out ugly, I will still post it so you guys can see that sometimes you can have designs and they can be ugly. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, I am not convinced that this original idea I have is going to look very good. So I think I'm going to have to rethink what it is that I want to do. So this is where we are right now. This is our original idea. I mean, look at it. I feel like it's frumpy. I feel like it's frumpy. Even in the back, I make it sexy. The front is frumpy and I don't like it. So I was like, okay, what can I do to make it look good? Should I just make this a dress? Should I make a belt? I'm like, should I do some like flares? Let me see, I have fabric scraps. So I'm like thinking, like something like this. Like, does that look good? Does that look good? No, that does not look good, right? And I'm like, no, that doesn't look good. So then what I did, because I already thought about all of this before I put on my camera, because I think better when I don't have the camera on. So then I was like, okay, let me take this other fabric, because I cut out 2 pieces of this accidentally. So I was like, okay, if I wrap this around my waist, because I feel like this just needs to be more cinched. Like it's a wrapper. Wrappers are not supposed to be cinched technically. But like this style is a casual style for a reason. Like I said, this is how the Nigerian women would dress casually in their house or in the market or just like in their house mostly. It's frumpy, doesn't matter. But we're going outside. Like we want to be fashionable. We don't want to be frumpy. You know what I mean? We don't want to be frumpy. So I was like, okay, let's tie this around my waist. And like it just looked infinitely better. I mean, you guys tell me what you think. I think that around my waist, this just looks infinitely better. Actually, if you think of it like a belt, almost, like I could like, because I'm going to add ties to this end. So if I do that, I mean, come on. Does that not look like infinitely better? Does it not give it shape already? Like, I feel like it does. I don't know if it looks good in camera as it does, as it did on the mirror. But this looks so good already. So I think this is what I'm going to do. But I think what I'm going to do now, because I still want the back. So even though this is now going to be cinched in the waist, right? So now this is going to look very much like a traditional Iran buba, but like with the top cut out, right? Because the traditional Iran buba usually has like it's a long sleeve top. I mean, the sleeves don't look like this though, but it's a long sleeve top, right? That's baggy here, and it's tied around with a wrapper, and it's long. This is long. You can't see my feet, but it is long. So now it's just literally looking like a traditional Iran buba where I separated the top part from the bodice, but I'm not mad at it. Now where I'm gonna add, I mean, this is already my own spin because I haven't seen anybody wear Iran buba like this before, so I better get my own spin. Actually, this is an idea I had when the hole in me almost took over, right? When I had this my original idea of just like one wrapper, I thought about making this entire thing backless, but then I was like, where will I go with my ass out? I am not Lisa, okay? I cannot go nowhere with my booty out. And I was like, what would I do to cover the booty part if it's out? Like, I will still need a way to cover the booty part. And I was like, I didn't think about it too much. Okay, so I'm back. Oh, and I don't have any light. Let me see if I can turn on the light for you guys. Okay, So this is potentially what the final look could look like. Maybe make like a waist bead, maybe make a necklace, some bracelets, even some earrings or something else to like for the look. But I think that this is gonna end up being the final look, y'all. So what's gonna happen is that this top part, I'm gonna add like a band. So I'm gonna cut this strip of fabric and I'm gonna make it a band so that this doesn't see how this is doing this. Now this is the traditional way of doing it, nothing wrong with that. But I want it to be a band so that it lays flat and it doesn't do this because we don't want to distract from my scalloped ends. But and then for this waist, I'm not gonna do a band for the waist because the fun part about the waist is that you could tie this in many different ways. So I don't want if I use a band, it's gonna take away from how you can like use a fabric and you could tie this, in many different ways. So there are many different ways you could tie potentially want to tie this in that I feel like a band will mess it up. So but I am going to add ties to the end of it so that when I tie it this way, because right now it doesn't get all the way to the back. It gets all the way to the back. So yeah, that's the idea. Honestly, I know what the other thing too is that I might even leave. I'm gonna like this. Oh, trying to design fashion is so hard because you just like you have so many decisions and it's just left thinking like what's the best decision to make? What's the best decision? Even this, because this looks cute. Oh my king, everything looks cute, y'all. I'm so confused. Do you see this? That kind of looks cute, at least in the mirror. I don't know if it looks good on camera. I'll have to come and replace that. But in the mirror, it just gives more it gives more dimensions. You know what I mean? I'll save it for a future design. It gives oomph, like it gives character. You know what I mean? So, mm, it's why is it so hard? Wait. Even in the other idea too, I also had, I did not even tell you guys, was that making this one a cropped top, like a cropped tie, but it didn't look as good as being a cropped tie. Plus, like this design idea is like I'm naming her Iyalooja. She's like the lady of the market. She's like the boss lady of the market. She's an older woman. You know what I mean? I'm like older women. I'm not saying older women don't wear crop tops because they do, but in this scene, like in the Nigerian scene, like an older lady is not going to really be wearing like a crop top, buba. She's not. She's not going to wear a crop. I feel like this screams more Iyalooja. Like this outfit screams Iyalooja. It's an Iro, it's a buba, it's a headscarf. It screams Iyalooja down. It's just fashionable. She got beads in her hair. She's got this fashionable fabric. She mixing. You know what I mean? It screams Iyalooja, but she made it fashion. Okay. Y'all, forgive me, I'm not looking at you. Okay, forgive me. I have to look at myself in the mirror. Okay. I mean, even without it being doubled, it still looks cute. So I feel like it might be a good fabric saving opportunity for me. Yeah, it still looks cute. The bottom still looks cute without it being doubled. Let me see. Let me double it and see. Because I'm like, okay, if I double it, right, like I make this top short and I make the bottoms long, like the bottom still looks cute. And that way I could save a little bit of fabric for something else in the future. Now if I don't do that and I leave it long, the other thing too is that having all this fabric that's long and long could be hot. It could be hot, like too warm is what I mean by hot. Not like hot like sexy. I mean like hot like temperature wise, like too warm. Okay. Yeah, it's not making much of a difference because I have it tied properly, so you don't actually even see the bottom part hanging out. So don't listen to me, y'all. Please ignore me. This is the thinking process. But basically, yeah, I think we're actually going to leave this design the way it is. I think it's done. So all I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to finish out the hems, add the bands to the top. I am going to cut this to make it shorter, and I'm going to save the extra fabric. I'm going to finish out the hem. For this head wrap, I put it, this is like 3 yards of fabric. This is 3 yards of fabric. Ooh. Maybe it's not 3 actually. Maybe it's more like two and a half, two and something. Actually, I'll go measure it. This might be about 2 yards of fabric that I'm using for the headscarf. So I'm gonna go hem it also. 2 yards of fabric is a lot. I don't even think that's even like the amount that's going on my body. I don't even think there's even 2 yards. No, it's not even the amount that's going around my body. It's not even 2 yards. But the 2 yards is giving it the volume that I want on top of my head because I want it to look like a gele. I don't know if you guys know what a gele is, but maybe I'll find a picture and I'll insert it somewhere. Maybe. But if you don't know what a gele is, ignore it. Google it. It's basically just like a head wrap, but it's made out of like a stiffer fabric like damask or I am blanking out on the name of the other fabric, but like usually like heavier, stiffer fabric, and you can make like it's like a structural head wrap. You guys have if you're familiar with like African culture, Nigerian culture, if you say Nigerian, what is you've seen those headgears that women wear? It's like called gillies. So the 2 yards of fabric, I'm just gonna just do that. What you saw on my head was just some messy, literally some messy, just like wrap it around my head and like whatever comes of it is whatever we're going with. Like pretty much is whatever we're going with. I'm not even overthinking it at all. I'm not doing anything. That's it. That's the style. Cute. So I'm just gonna hem everything tomorrow. And the outfit is done. Ah, it is done. Oh my god. Oh, I can't wait to post it. I can't wait to see what you guys think about it. Some of you probably be impressed. Some of you will not be impressed. But you know what? I'm impressed with myself because I did that against all odds. The outfit was about to embarrass me and look frumpy. But I did that. So it's gonna be the second item in my collection. And then the future ones, I'm gonna really bring in the bead ideas. Let me go figure out what I'm gonna do with those beads that I bought for this outfit. I gotta think on it, okay? But I think this is gonna be the end of this video, y'all, because I'm gonna do a separate video, a separate shorts on. I'm gonna do a shorts on the final look and how I put everything together. But do you guys, unless you guys want me to show you how I'm doing the neck, do you guys care on how I'm doing the neck? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel when I wake up tomorrow morning. I don't know. But just know that I'm gonna hem the neck. Okay, just know that this might be the end. This might be the end of it because I can't do anymore, y'all. Filming is not easy. Okay, but if I do not add on to this video, I will most likely put a final look in this video because how else am I supposed to tempt you guys to watch the video anyways? Like if I don't do a final look. So I will probably do a final look separately and then just add it on to this video when I'm editing it. But I'm not gonna do so much editing, even the nice late, because at this point you probably already watched like an hour into it, and I'm saying I'm not gonna do so much editing. I'm so sorry. To anybody who watches this, if you get this far, clap for yourself. If you get this far, clap for you. If you get this far, message me. I owe you $10. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. But just in case, you can put in the comments that I owe you $10. I want to know that exactly. If you get this far, put it in the comments. Say Shewa owes $10. I want to see it because I want to know who got this far. I want to know who is my real ride or die, who stuck with me this long, who can be my real friend. Okay. But that's it. So I don't think I'm gonna do any more sewing processes. I will just do the final look, and you guys will get to see. And then I'm gonna have more looks. Okay, I have more designs, and I'm gonna. Okay. I'm gonna stop now because I'm just repeating what I already said before. Thank you for watching. This is Shama Love Shakara, and this is our second design. Okay, bye. Psych. Y'all thought I was gone, but we're not done yet. Okay, I woke up the next day and I was feeling in a generous mood. Okay, so now I'm doing the neckline and I'm using a bias strip. Because I learned this from like a random YouTuber that I watched who was making a lace around buba. So one thing that you want to do, and I don't want to mess this up because this is already hard enough to do, is that maybe I'm too zoomed in. Yeah, I'm too zoomed in. When you're starting off, like at the end of your bias strip, you're gonna open up the part that you're gonna sew down and you're gonna fold it so that way your raw edges are not open, and that's how you're gonna start your stitch. And so what you can see I'm doing here is that I opened up this part and this is going to be on the right side. So this is the right side of my fabric and I'm going to stitch it all the way down here So that's all that I'm doing here. Okay, see y'all soon. Okay, now that I'm almost at the end, I can show you what I did. So you can see like this is folded in, and that's why I started my stitch. I was gonna say like normal people will like measure how many they need and they'll cut it out, but literally I didn't do that because I was like, that's too much work. This is the lazier, faster way of doing it. Okay, so now I'm literally at the ending of my stitch. So again, what I learned from the lady is I am going to, so you can see this is why I folded it right, but I'm going to sew over it. I'm going to sew over it, right? So that when I fold this over, you can see that you're going to see the folded side over and this raw edge will not actually show. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll add the lady's video and maybe if mine is not making sense, hers might be a bit clearer. So now I'm just going to finish this off. I had to do this very, very slowly because I'm not like an expert at doing the bias strip necklines. Like the one I did with my first Oleku, like it was not the neatest looking thing, but girl, I wore that proudly. Okay, so you can see, so that's what it looks like right now. And so the idea now is that I'm going to fold this in to the wrong side. And then, oh, this end will also be folded in, or maybe not. But anyways, we're going to fold this and then I'm going to do something to this. Maybe I'm gonna hand stitch it down. I feel like, oh, I might have to undo this actually. I'm gonna have to redo this. See, I messed this up. Why does I have to do the thing slowly? Because I messed it up. Okay, that's a bit neater than it was before. That definitely looks better. So now I'm gonna go watch the lady's video and figure out how what she did with this side, because I don't know how you're going to stitch this without the line showing here, which is what happened to my other one that wasn't knit, because I ended up stitching it on this side too. And there were stitches over here and it just did not look so good. Okay, so watching the lady's video, it actually looks like, yeah, she did sew hers this way also, just the same way I did mine. I just don't know how she made hers look so neat and mine did not. So I'm trying to, I don't know. So this is where you definitely do not take guidance from me, because if you know how to do this in a way that's really neat, you do your own way or you find a professional. Because I'm thinking what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up stitching it very, very close to this end here. So the stitch is very close to the top. And that might be the neatest looking thing I can do for it, as opposed to stitching it at the bottom here and having the stitch show up here. So yeah, we'll see. So it's definitely not the best neckline that I've ever seen, but you know what? I'm gonna wear it like that because I personally don't care. I'm gonna wear it like that, and as long as you're not like staring at my neck too hard, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll do better. I'll keep improving. You know. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and finish like the inside hems. Like I kind of already started trying to like finish the hems on the inside. So I'm gonna go do all of that. And my top will be done. Yay! One thing that I was gonna say that I forgot to say is that this, at least this my fabric has like stones on it. It has a lot of stones on it, and I already broke 2 needles because of the stones. And while I was watching this lady's video, she mentioned like using a bias strip instead of this fabric because she was gonna have to take out all the stones. And I was like, that's what I should have done, y'all. That is what I should have done, is taking out the stones. So when I was doing the neckline, I did take out the stones around the neck just so that I don't break any more needles. So I took out the stones around the neck. And so I broke my second needle because I was doing the hemming. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to look at my hems and make sure that like right here, there's a, like you see now, this one has a stone right on the hem where I'm trying to like needle. So I'm going to take out, you see those stones? I'm going to take out all those stones that are around the hem. And the good thing is that, first of all, I have functional nails, okay? And second of all, these are like pretty easy to take out. So all I'm doing is literally just like using my nails, my very functional claws to like, see? Peel it out. That's all I'm doing, using my very functional claws to peel it out. So it's pretty easy They come off very easily. I mean, I have so many on the floor. Just from like opening the fabric. When I bought the fabric, when I was looking at it, just I opened the fabric, stones just fell. So the stones, they do fall. So that's what I came into. So I'm gonna finish at the top. And the next time you probably see me is when I'm showing you how I'm hemming the wrapper, which is very easy. But yeah. But originally, I told you guys that maybe I was going to add a tie at the end. Maybe I was going to do a band. And then I ended up with clasp. Well, I don't know what you guys call this hardware thing, but this clasp thing. And that's kind of like what I just ended up with. And I'm pretty sure I put one of them in the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter. So the idea was like I would take this. At least the good thing is that the class remind me which part is the top part. The way I did it was that this is the one end and I'm right-handed. So this is just the way I wrap. You could wrap it whichever direction you like first. It doesn't really matter. Unless maybe the print. If the print matters to you, then maybe that might be the only difference. But this was the one that I did the wrong direction in. So it was supposed to put the clasp on this side, but I put it on the inside, whatever. So I was just gonna clasp this one to here and then push it and then clasp this one to, where is it? Okay, let's keep pushing it to here. Now I've never seen anybody do like an Iro with a clasp before, but then again, people don't really wear Iros on their chest to like go out. Like when I say go out, to me like go out for an event. You know what I mean? So this actually keeps this steady because before I added the clasp, I didn't have a clasp or anything before. I just wrapped it around my chest and I did this. That's the traditional way that you would wear it. And it was falling off, y'all. And I was like, if I had to wear this in public, I would be mind up in jail for public exposure or indecency. You know, and I don't want to be one of those people that wears an outfit and you keep adjusting it because it keeps falling. Yeah, I don't want to be one of those, you know. I shouldn't want to make my own outfit. Come on. I'm not doing that. So I did the clasp and it's it's very, very secure. So that was what I did. So if it helps you, you do it too, okay? We're using modern designs, even in our traditional outfits, okay? This is Iyalooja. This is the final look. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Oh my god, I like it so much. Of course, I had to add a head wrap. Okay, I think I used maybe 3 yards of material for it. I need to practice my tines because I was trying to tie like a gilly. You guys don't know what a gilly is. Google it. You know, but this is not gilly fabric. But I think I'll work on it. And then I made the necklace and this from some beads I bought on Amazon. If you're an Amazon hater, fair, buy your beads wherever you like. But I mean, I'm really proud of it. I feel like it's giving Shakara. I mean, what do you guys think? I think I like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comment. Let me know if you rock this and will you wear it to. Me on the other hand, don't invite me to a wedding because if you invite me to a wedding, this is what I'm gonna wear. Then if the wedding color says purple or anything of the sort, whether it's purple, I be violet, I be whatever purple their color, this is what I'm wearing. Okay, so konnichiwa. I know wrong country, wrong language, but every time I see sleeves like this, it just makes me think about Asian culture. But thank you. Bye. I am calling her Sisilooja. I'm trying to figure out what it is that I can do with all the scraps of fabric. So I pretty much just wrapped all the scraps of fabric around my waist. And then I was like, it looks really good as like this like A-line, or what do you call this? It's not straight. Thank you. As asymmetrical wrapper, and I just kind of cut it out so that this top of it is straight. Because I mean, when I say it was scraps of fabric, I legitimately mean like scraps of fabric. So now I've cut it into this like A line, and you can see like the way the A line is. This part is gonna be on the front, and this part is gonna be tied in the front. And it's gonna be the bottom, right? But I don't like these raw edges. So what I'm going to do is that I found another, you know, crappy, not crappy, another piece of fabric scrap. So what I'm going to do is that this piece of fabric scrap has the finished edges that I want. So I'm actually going to sew this piece of fabric. This is the wrong side, but you know, on the right side, I'm actually going to sew this piece of fabric this edge, this raw edge to this. And the good news is that it is long enough to cover. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna sew that together so that this end is scalloped. And I'm gonna do the same thing too for this piece. So I gotta find, no, that is not scrap. Is this my top I just made? Oh, no, no. This is my top I just made. Okay, no, this is a scrap of fabric too. So I'm gonna find another scrap of fabric that also has a scalloped edge. Yes, this one also has a scalloped edge. I'm gonna do the same thing on this end. And I'm gonna sew this together so this edge is also scalloped. And then because the top is a super crop top, we're gonna need like something to cover my titties. So I'm literally just gonna make a tiny little, when I say a tiny little tube with like this kind of like scrap of fabric. It's going to be very, very tiny. Very, very tiny. So that's the idea here. I'm actually not going to go into details of how I'm actually stitching everything, but I'm not going to show you every single detail. I think this is enough for you guys to see what I did. So I cut the wrapper in asymmetrical. I'm joining those finished edges together so that it turns out finished. When I'm done with that, I'm going to add ties. So this is part that's going to be on my waist. So I'm going to like, double fold it so that the raw edges are not showing and stitch it close. And then I'm going to use one of these scraps to make ties that I'm going to join to each end so I can actually tie the wrapper together. And then for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into a tube, but I'm going to like basically gather it on the side, right? So that it looks almost like it was wrapped, like gather it on the side. And I'm going to sew a tie to the end of it so I could tie it to my back. And when it's done, I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's a bonus. This was not part of my original plans, but we play around with fabric and it's a bonus. I literally just made it today. I mean, this is the same top that I used for Iyalooja. I just made this top. It's kind of actually inspired by Spartacus. Y'all don't judge me. And then I made this like wrap skirt. The skirt ended up like this because I only had scraps. I didn't have enough to make it straight, but this is perfect because this was actually on my list to do, was to do like an asymmetrical wrap skirt. And since the fabric was sort of already asymmetrically, and I just like fixed it. And then this is the same head wrap that I used for the Iyalooja outfit. So I am calling her Sisilooja. Okay, Sisi means like young girl. You know what I mean? It's young girl. It's giving sexy girl. I mean, it's not giving Sisi. Is it not giving Sisi? The other thing I did was that I made a waist bead for Sisilooja. Iyalooja has a necklace. A necklace gives like, yes, she's madame, she's here. A waist bead gives, yes, she's Sisi and she's here. And then I have like a bracelet I made. This is the same bracelet for Iyalooja because I don't have any more beads. But I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys like it? I mean, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Okay, thank you.